Welcome to the Intrinsic First Leadership Podcast. I'm Aaron Robbins with Intrinsic First. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay up to date on our latest episodes. Ready to dive into the world of leadership? Let's get started. This is Intrinsic First Leadership Podcast, and we have a special guest here today, Fredrik, from Finally Together. Did I remember that right? It's only been like 5 seconds since you told me, but my memory's quick. And so we're going to talk to him today. He's out in Sweden, and so we'll hear from him and talk about leadership and organizations and all kinds of topics that come up today. So with that, Fredrik, welcome. Thanks for joining us. And do you mind, as a starting point, just kind of give us some background about yourself and whatever you want to share?
Yeah, I can start that. Yes, I'm located in northern Sweden. So right now I'm sitting in a ski resort.
Oh, very cool.
And I came here a few months ago from Thailand. So I've been in Thailand for the past 6 years and we're working from there.
Wow.
And now I'm here and enjoying the snow again.
Nice.
So that's the location. And like you mentioned, I have this accountability app called Finally Together, which is, a way of engaging employees within companies as well.
Nice.
But I thought, it's the first time I speak to at least 66% of you guys. I thought that I go on a little bit of histories just to give it some context so you know who the blonde guy is talking to you guys.
Perfect.
Sounds good.
Yeah, please. That'd be great.
Yes. So if we rewind back to the year of 2016, I came across an organization called Gapminder. Is there any one of you that have heard it? It's an NGO.
No, I haven't heard of that.
So what they are doing is that they are collecting data, like social economical data about the world, and then they visualize it in fun diagrams. And they have become a really big deal in Sweden for a purpose that I'm going to try and demonstrate for you guys now. So I prepared 2 quiz questions that I have just recklessly stolen from them. And the first one is, in 1980, roughly 40% of the world's population lived in extreme poverty with less than $2 per day. So 40% in 1980 lived in extreme poverty. And what is the percentage today? And I'll even give you 3 different answers. So you can choose between one of these ones.
Perfect.
So one is 50%, one is 30%, and one is 10%.
So the question is, which...
I always go to the middle. I think it went down, but not all the way to 10.
I want to say it went the other way. I would say 50%.
Oh, man. I guess it depends how you define poverty.
So extreme poverty is that you're living off $2 per day, equivalent to an American in the US today. So you would barely afford you would suffer.
Right. I don't know.
So it's 50, 30, or 10.
God, I'd like to think 10, but that'll make me sound sheltered as hell, right?
What do you think it is?
Yeah, you don't know how the real world is. 30. Let's go with, what do you say?
I said 50.
50.
Yeah.
I have no
idea.
No idea. What is it?
Yes, it's 10%.
Oh, good.
10. I went the wrong way.
But we do one quick more.
50% of the people in the world are in extreme. That's
10%.
10%.
Yeah. That's good, right? That's good.
Yeah, so we've gone from almost 50% in the 80s to 10% today.
Yeah,
Okay.
Wow.
Which is extraordinary, because of that level. The level on the 80s, people are, they're dying because they don't have the basic needs. So it's great. And the other one is, what share of the world's population don't have enough food to meet their daily needs? So that is today. And I kind of spoiled this question already with the context. So the first one would be 37, 23, or 11.
You got to think 11.
11.
It's got to be close to the 10.
Yeah, exactly.
Highly related, right?
Yeah. So this was something I came across in 2016, which was more than anything, I realized that I knew nothing about the world, that I had such a strong, weird, misplaced vision of how the world were progressing. And I knew, and their point too, Gapminder's point, that comes up with this question is that if we're watching media, we are systematically getting a wrong idea of how the world is working on mass scale. So it opened my eyes a little bit, and this was almost 10 years from now. So I was in my early 20s back then.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that they highlighted a lot in their literatures was that Asia was on the growth as well, that they have done like the same type of financial growth that have taken Europe hundreds of years, they've done in the past few decades. And they happen to be almost more than 50% of the world's population.
Right.
So around that, in that age, in my early 20s, I saw these things and I just felt like, shit, we're gonna fall behind, and we're gonna fall behind really, really soon. And alongside with that insight and that view, me and my friend, we also saw that today you can start up a business without being location dependent.
Yeah.
So we were both in our careers, we were like senior employees in various companies, and we just said, let's just head out, let's go there, let's go to Asia and see how they're doing, and let's start a business. And fast forwarding 5 years later, our business ended up doing millions.
Wow.
And we had a big team of employees, and we did it very successfully.
Nice.
So the reason why I find it interesting to speak with you guys, and when I spoke to Aaron, is that I have a very practical and anecdotal approach that I know worked from how to lead an operation and creating a big business. And you, Aaron, at least I know that you come from a very academical point of view. So I thought it would be really interesting to meet up with you guys and then, share my perspective and getting some reflection from what you guys know.
No, I like that a lot. A lot of what we do is help people understand why they do what they do, and we label it. So we label the behavior so you can replicate it. And so that's kind of where I see this conversation going, in a sense of you sharing what you've done in the past and it works, but you're not exactly not sure why it works. And that's, I think, where the academics comes in.
Yeah. And you heard my speaking session, right, at the conference, which is what got you to come talk to me, where I talked about motivation.
Yeah.
So going back real quick, so it's really interesting. Like, I think you could take a few different things out of the metrics, the statistics that you shared, right? On one hand, it's like the amount of growth and technological advancement and of the world overall, went from 48 to 10, although we're still at 10% of the world's still starving out there. Meanwhile, we're just chilling. But I think that's interesting. The takeaway is like, holy crap, they're moving way faster, than we did in terms of building off of really the overall global technologies. And so I'd be really interested to hear, before we dive into like theory and other things, is you said you started this company, it was very successful. You were, doing all this leadership work. I'd love to hear about what your experience was. What was it like? How did it go? What was the progression, and then how did that, where does that put you now? And maybe talk a little bit about the tool that you have now, and then we can kind of leverage that background to kind of see where we can dig in on different topics related to leadership.
Nice. Yeah, I have something which can be an interesting starting point then to discuss, which was the problem statement that we saw when it came to building operations, was that we looked at what is our biggest competition in terms of building a great team. And this was almost 8 years ago. Today, it's a no-brainer. But what we realized was what we can lose from our employees is their attention span. They're sitting at home. We built our organization, like I said, independent on location. So everyone was sitting at their homes. And this was pre-pandemic. So it wasn't, we had examples. There was some literatures, but it wasn't a lot. So we quickly realized that the biggest problem we're facing right now is that some of them will have their kids running around. Some will have their partners. Some will have, an immediate access to their Netflix and YouTube accounts and scrolling their phones. So the biggest threshold as a new company growing was to make sure that not only people, we can't control, or we shouldn't, or it's a very expensive path trying to control people's behavior. So we knew that, we have to somehow make them want to work over Netflix, over scrolling their feeds, over, doing the laundry. Like, we have to make sure that they feel motivated or just excited to come and contribute to this common, cause or problem we're trying to solve with our company.
Mm-hmm.
So that would then be, so that was our problem statement. And I just want to hear someone's take on that first.
Yeah. How did you tackle that? I mean, you had some intuition that you guys, it sounds like you applied to that problem statement.
Yeah. So the problem I saw running the company is that we have a very long and abstract feedback loop. As a salesperson, sure, but as a content writer, which was the majority of our employees, it's very abstract to get a good idea whether they do a great work and also how that work is contributing to, the profit of the company or whatever you measure the success of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I created a simulation which would somehow reflect the journey of a company's growth and then put it in their hands so they could somehow feel what it feels like to create success, but with a much quicker feedback loop.
Yeah. Can you explain what the company, like the background of the company was, the product or service that you provided? And
we were building our own websites to rank on Google. So we were generating organic clicks. So not advertisement, but the organic. So we would write websites in niches where we could generate leads to businesses. So we became, like the nightclub bouncer. We stood outside and we pointed people in directions on where to go.
Interesting. So you created websites that helped grab people's attention to be able to then route them to other companies' sites, and then the companies would pay you for their leads, basically.
Yeah, like all the influencers doing today on Instagram.
Yeah.
But we would do it from an organic point of view, meaning that people go into Google, they would search, where's the best restaurant? And then we would rank and send them to the best restaurant.
Got it. And where is it at today? Are you still doing that, or that you're doing this other thing?
My business partners is still running it, and it goes well. So we did it in India and in the most competitive niches. So we were doing really, really good.
Nice. Okay.
But then my heart got drawn to this question we're discussing right now.
Yeah.
The solution to the problem statement I just painted. That's where my heart was drawn to, and that's what I ended up spending my time in.
Well, I mean, I think that, just my opinion, but I mean, going in and starting a company is very similar to what we did. Was, my interest was not as much about what we were doing as much as how we were doing it with the people that we were doing it with. And I think that's kind of what you're saying is your initial problem statement was more, how do we make it enjoyable for people to want to do this work, regardless of what it is? Obviously, you had a plan in mind, right? And a goal technically, but yeah, I mean, that is motivation.
But your intuition, I thought, was really good in the sense of saying that it would be really expensive if you were going to try and control people, right? That's the first thing.
Well, and it doesn't work. The science doesn't.
Right. But his intuition was like, it's going to be expensive. It's probably a better way to try and help motivate them or figure out a way to get them to do something. Going back to the feedback issue, I just want to make sure I understand that a little bit better. So you have content writers, and they were basically identifying or trying to articulate what was a successful product that they were delivering. How did they do that exactly? What were they doing?
So the solution that I created was not directly related to the work that they were doing.
Okay.
So it was like we created a game which was within the people in the business to then simulate and demonstrate the same behaviors as they would do when they were working, but they would do it in this game.
So you gamified it.
So I get yeah, I'll tell you about it. I think it's a good time to tell you about it.
Okay.
So the idea was basically that, we want autonomy, right? We want people we want to give people trust and space for them to grow, to be creative.
Mm-hmm.
So then this little game was based out of health, but the core of the game was to bring people together and also to give them this quicker feedback loop. So what I did was that I invited people, and they had to say yes themselves. And if they said yes, what they did was that they picked one little task that would be related to their well-being. So it could be, it could be the classical like diet, resting, movement, but it could also be more esoteric things like breathing and meditation and stuff, or it could even be like creative things. If they had a hobby, I remember one guy, he was playing the drums, which was a really beautiful story in itself, because it was the first time he did it in like 30 years or something. And the last time he did it, he was on a stage in high school, and that was the happiest day of his life. And now he picked it up again, and he was in his late 40s. And he was so grateful for like having that opportunity, because he haven't thought about doing it until we started this thing. So the concept of this simulation was that they picked like this little micro task, and then every second week we had a call. So everyone got a chance to then reflect on their period. And the thing that we tracked was not their success in executing that task, but it was more their ability to show up and report for the group. So we made it clear that no matter if you do it or not, like that's not the point. The point is that you show up and report. Okay. Because then we got like this element of self-inquiry. I can set out an intention. This is what I'm intending to do. But then some days, like you don't have the energy, and if you then fall out from it, then you're kind of screwed.
Right.
But if you can be allowed to like, okay, I don't have to do it every day. I can still keep my intention. I can still show up with my group, and I can continuously observe my own willingness of doing that. I can say no, 2 weeks in a row, but I still have it in my awareness. And that's where I felt that the power was, that we were always kind of in this culture of intending to do something for ourselves. Then if we did it or not, that was always up to the individual.
And there was no judgment whatsoever if they didn't do it, correct? You were still...
The opposite. Like there was so much encouragement for the people that ended up not doing it. And I also think like we managed to somehow create... There's so many companies that goes out. I've been in a few big corporations, and they go out and say, we encourage failure. But then when it comes down to it, when someone failed to deliver a report, or there's leaders don't say like, yeah, like they do get upset, and like for whatever reasons. So I think we actually managed to create like a little bit of a workshop where people could practice to fail. So that was a big thing. I remember just for myself to be able to go out and face my team and say like, yeah, I set up this goal and I actually ended up not doing it. And I have no better explanation than just like I ignored it, or I didn't do it. And it's like when that shame got taken out of the picture, it became so much easier to do it then the next day.
Yeah, and then that translated back into their actual work, right? When it was actually a task they had to do for work, they felt more comfortable because they'd already practiced failing or not doing something and then talking about it. Did I get that right? Yeah. Okay.
And that was the whole point, to have that transition, like that this behavior got translated then into the regular work environment. And it did, like it cultivated trust. We failed together, we succeeded together, and we got to experience that, within a week. And what they did was that they invested, a couple of minutes maybe into this task. So like it was the investment that they had to do was super low. Like we didn't go on a kickoff and had to build a pyramid with our bodies for a weekend. It was simply like setting a little task to do, and it could be 2 minutes long.
And they chose the task too on top of it. That's the best part, I think.
Yeah, they had to do it, their individual things. So everyone was like fight. And I think that's why why this shame thing was never in the picture, because people were just like in golf, everyone was there on their completely own, they set up what they wanted to do and how they wanted to execute that. So it's hard to compare, right?
It's classic self-determination theory.
Yeah, 100%. I love it. I think it's really good.
Yeah. It sounds like also that's what kind of led you into creating this new company, right? Because if I remember the way you explained it, that's essentially what you've created as a tool to help people be able to do this and kind of team together and support each other. I don't want to say hold each other accountable, because that's a more controlling kind of thing. It's more about the support. It sounds like the way you're describing it was more about the connection that people had, right? There wasn't the shame or the guilt or the the accountability so much as it was just the support, the connection that people had with each other.
What did you say the title of your company is?
Yeah, that's a great question on Aaron's comments. Finally together.
Finally together.
Yeah. So the idea is kind of, so I've been into habits my entire adult life. And I read Daniel Kahneman. Have you read him? Thinking Fast and Slow.
Yep.
He basically has proved to us that we are not rational beings.
Right.
So I remember while reading his book, I had a whiteboard in my living room / bedroom at the time. And I tracked how many times I checked the Facebook feed, because the narrative I had in my head is that I'm not a person that checks the Facebook feed. Like, that's people with bad self-control and like low worth. I don't do that. Like, I do intellectual things. But then I thought that there was like some dissonance in this narrative and how I actually went about life. And the first day after the fifth check, after when I was supposed to work as well, I was sitting at home and I realized I checked the Facebook feed 5 times now today. This is like, I'm a fraud. And that's what Daniel Kahneman taught me. So then I started doing a lot of these like personal behavioral things to like try to find truth and try to find alignment within my own word and action. So this tool then is somehow inspired to that, but with a softer approach, 100%. We're our own hardest critic, so we need to be kinder to each other to kind of balance that self-relationship.
So I've heard the explanation. Do you mind kind of going through a little bit of what the tool does, just so we know it's like a goal setting?
So it's the same thing. Like, we took out 25 different acts, and these acts are divided then in resting, movement, eating, and then focus and breathing. And breathing is very much related to, regulating the nervous system in various ways, to relax or to speed up or find, brain-heart coherence or whatever it might be. And then simple like focus task, which is more work-related. So then there is these 25 different acts, and the idea is that you're chasing one rabbit at a time, because it's not really a transformational tool to become healthier, even though that's the positive side effect. But the main thing is to, have an intention and then report on it. And through that, you have a common purpose, the people in the group who are doing this together. So you're doing this with 4 other people. So everyone has their own little act. And then you're reporting to each other. And in the tool, then in this dashboard, the data is simply showing whether you're reporting or not. That's the primary thing. And the secondary is the execution. So it's quite simple. It's quite simple in like it's dynamic. And the outcome is just like you said. I've been interviewing, like quality interviewing now, everyone in the company, and people have tried it afterwards, and everyone says the same thing. They come back for the social aspect. Like, they're not really there to become healthier. It just happens to be that's what you do in the app, but you're actually hanging out.
I don't care about being healthier. I just like hanging out.
Yeah. But it's the connection that's super powerful, I think.
So Dre, just to do you get what he's explaining?
I'm working at it.
So it's an app, right?
Yeah.
So you go on the app and they have 25 different tasks that you can select as like goals for a behavior, some kind of healthy behavior. I want to eat differently. I want to breathe, meditate, whatever. And you pick one, and then you're teamed up with 4 other people on the app so that you can see those other progress and chat with them and connect with them. And then you're basically all trying to achieve your individual goal together through the app.
My goal is not the same as yours.
Correct.
So how could I realize both my goal and help you do yours?
It's not about helping the other people get their goals. It's about being part of a connected group
that's doing it,
so that you're all doing a goal together.
But it's self-reporting, right? It's self-reporting.
And the beauty that if you're supporting each other, the only thing you can actually tell each other is to be, just do what you told yourself you wanted to do this week. Like that, it's the best kind of leadership. It's like you're not educating someone on what they should do. You're just telling them to go back to your original plan and follow it. Like, you promise yourself to do this, do it.
So you don't help them revisit what they committed to do. You just encourage them to go do it.
I mean, you encourage people to follow their own words.
But it's all documented in the app, so you see it there. I think
that's the thing I'm missing is the
reinforcement
of the app itself.
So it'd be like taking your phone out and recording, what you ate for the day is to make sure you're eating healthy, as an example. So there's so there's a task that's on your phone, and then you're just recording whether or not you were, if you chose to do more breathing, throughout the day, so that it's being recorded on your phone. And when you do that, then Aaron, assuming he's in your group, can see the progress you've made towards that goal.
And make comments on it, I assume, right? There's
Right.
some kind of chat and...
You have a chat, correctly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there something I should not say? Are there things that I should not say in this
I guess
process?
do you set guidelines or rules or any kind of recommendations on how people should interact with each other?
So
I think you're getting at
maybe they're non-judgmental.
Yeah.
Right. So that's an interesting question. Are there anything? Do you have an issue with people being very judgmental or direct with the others, or has it ever been an issue?
No. So the onboarding dynamic is that, if I enter a completely new context, like a community or a company, then I start with the, core leaders. And then I facilitate them in this. I'm walking the talk.
Mm-hmm.
And they get to see it. And then they find another core leaders. So it becomes like this beautiful little spread. So everyone they join a new group and they have done it before. So that's how I did it within my company as well.
So you started with 5 and you got those other 4 people with you and 4 others. By doing it with them, they started to understand. Then each of them went and got 4 people. Now you've got, and you found a new group. So now you got 5 groups of 5, and then that grows exponentially. How long does the process go from start to finish before you then say, all right, let's split up and you guys go find your next groups?
Actually, when we started this, I did never, I just took the people that I knew was good, leaders.
Mm-hmm.
And so I coached them on the side. It goes really fast because the flow of the app or the system is really simple.
What's the typical time frame of a goal? Is it a week, a month?
A week, yeah.
Oh,
so coming back to our original question, that this was a simulation to kind of demonstrate, setting up a project within a company, launching that project, getting whatever result you want from this project. So it takes months and months or even years. So this way we could get that same flow within a week. That was the initial plan of this entire framework.
Yeah. So these are micro goals to a certain extent.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good. Which is, along with the theory of habits, you want small stuff. Although habits typically take about 30 days to.
Yeah. So tying this back to the academic to self-determination theory, I'm kind of curious to know if they were in tension with that, or that's just their intuition.
Yeah. Did you know anything about self-determination theory when you were doing any of this, or was it the first time you heard about that from my session?
I've read Atomic Habits and these books.
Atomic Habits is like the opposite of.
Yeah.
So what is self-determination then?
Well, self-determination is, God, Dre, you could probably define it better because his head is a dictionary. Mine's not yet. But it's doing things of your own volition, right?
It starts with the assumption that there are several different motivational states that you could go after or be in to accomplish something. You could be doing it for several different types of reasons. And the object is for you to understand what's the underlying state that best supports the accomplishment of what you want to do. And so those states are, I'm doing it because somebody is forcing me to, they're rewarding me to, they're
threatening punishment.
Punishment. Could be all kinds of different states, but they're the states that are truly self-sustaining and are healthy and are going to help you and others is one of either based on your values, what kind of values you have, what are the values, what the why of it, and these states can come and go, but the ones that you begin to discover why you're doing it, it begins to put you at the right energy levels to sustain that on a regular basis. So, for example, why do you want to run? Why do you want to run a 13K or a half marathon? And how do you get there? And on the status and steps and so forth for all that have to be clear in the fundamental understanding that I'm doing it because it's going to bring me internal psychic pleasure. That's the best way I can get at it.
But are you trying to define self-determination?
No, what I am trying to talk about is the states that facilitate a sustained effort at something.
Yeah. In terms of self-determination, why it's called self-determination theory is, like, the way I understand it, self-determination is doing things of your own volition. Your actions and behaviors are from internal as opposed to external, right? That's what it means to be self-determined. So Dre is talking about the what Susan calls the outlooks, right? Or the motivation regulations is, why are you doing it? Are you doing it because you're being coerced or to avoid punishment or to gain a reward? Are you doing it because you have internal pressures of guilt or feeling, cognitive dissonance, those kind of impositions you feel imposed, peer pressure? Are you doing it because it's part of your values and you believe that it's important to do? And then you could be doing it because it's who you are. It's part of your identity. So it's identity based. And then pure fun and just enjoyment. I love to do it.
And to build on that, it would be that there are, you can do something because it's giving you a sense of competence. You could be doing something because it's a matter of choice. You have autonomy. Or you could be doing it because you're with a group of people that you want to serve or be or see survive. So there's a set of relationships connected with that. So autonomy, connectedness, and competence are some of these internal dimensions of the most effective states.
So that's what SDT calls the basic psychological needs.
Yeah.
And they call them needs, that psychological needs, that there's other needs you might have physiologically, but from a psychological perspective, they've done, decades of research to try to figure out, are there other needs? And they have this criteria of like 9 points that it has to meet criteria-wise to be considered a need. And those are the only 3 needs they've really found. There's other things that people call needs that they consider outcomes or tertiary, components. But from a need perspective, universally across all humans, that's relatedness, autonomy, and competence. And that's really what you're talking about. So I see that weaving into the things you're describing. They get to choose that they're doing this, right? Yes. Their participation is voluntary. They get to do it together. So there's this connection and sense of belonging that they get. And it's all it's all around achieving a goal, which is competence. So it's classic example.
So playing a basketball game at a high level, that gives me a sense of competence, so to speak, a sense of
being able to
meaning.
Apply your abilities.
Yeah. And so the behaviors, the leader behaviors, and one of the things that I think, is that leadership is not a thing. It's not a noun. It's a verb, and it really concerns the actions of awareness of what you're doing. So if I pressure you to do something, or pay you to do something, or coerce you to do something, while that might be a leadership behavior, it's probably going to be dysfunctional for both you and that other person if done repetitively over a long period of time. It has to shift the impetus for the feelings inner have to come out in what you're asking them to do through their values or through your values or both. That is coming back to is what we believe. I believe that leadership is involved. It's what behaviors, what visible behavior and constant behaviors am I, can I be seen using that would allow that other person to get the sense of a competence, connection, or relatedness. I better stop.
That'd make a good short.
Yeah. So I was listening very carefully to what you were saying to try to understand what implies, what are the implications for your behavior in this app or this interaction you're having with people. Did that make sense?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it makes a difference if people's comments to each other are very external, even, or judgmental. Yeah. It's like, hey, man, I'll $10 to finish your thing today, or not that they would offer money or something, but reinforce those external type of rewards. That could make a difference in the connection and feelings of autonomy to somebody trying to do it, as opposed to, this is who you are. You got this. You made or even you made the commitment. You got to follow through now. That makes almost an imposition.
Yeah. Well, there is a.
I was going to add that to before you even enter and be part of a group, you have kind of made this commitment, this goal. You have added the why to it. You have attached. You have reflected quite a bit. So it's almost like you're entering the group with a little asset, which is yours, which I think have helped the dynamic in the chat to be supportive somehow, because everyone is like walking around with their little thing, which I think would be different if everyone had to walk 5,000 steps a day, and if everyone had to do it. There's no sense of ownership in that goal. It's just someone else have told you to do it.
Yeah, so they come in with the goal of being very intrinsic, and from a habit perspective, it sounds like it's very achievable. So the difficulty level of doing something like you said, it's not like we got to walk 5,000 steps every day. If you're only walking 1,000 or 2,000, that's a massive step to take.
But that's the autonomy. Yeah, that's the autonomy part.
We believe that good leadership teaches within it the idea that I have to acknowledge what's going on in my affect, the affect I bring to what's going on, as well as the cognitions, the thoughts, and trying to get people to understand that affect is primary. It drives. There's so much that so much baggage comes into the conversation, and so much resistance, and so much miscommunication with the real way I'm thinking and feeling, and especially physiologically feeling, not just emotional.
I had a saying where I lived in Thailand. It was you could say like a hippie community. People were living barefoot, and I was too. And we always said that the most beautiful thing you can ever give someone is your presence.
Yeah, I love that.
Give your mental presence. You mean?
I think all of it, your presence,
all of it.
So my wife loves talking to Drea because she says he's like the best listener. You're just like immersed into the conversation, and when you talk to her, however short it may be or long, she feels like you're the only like she's the only one there for you. Like you're there together. Like you, focused on her. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she says you're a really good listener, and I've been trying to keep up with that, but I fail every time.
Man, Dre, you're making it look bad.
Listen, all she has to do is reach over and put her hands. No,
really. Yeah, so I totally, there's nothing, like we say, like your presence is it's all of it.
So do we have things in common, do you think? As you heard what you said, was telling us, and how our reactions were coming back to you?
Yeah, I feel so.
Do you?
The defining self-determination theory for you, were you able to make those connections to what the actions that you're doing in the app? I guess what I'm trying to get at, because I think they did all this through intuition and not necessarily through academics. So I'm hoping that we were able to draw the connection between the academics and the intuition.
Yes, very much so.
I honestly think it's remarkable that you got as far as you did with the app without. Yeah, I mean it's wonderful because you had so much experience. And
I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult.
No, because you are no. Here's because you are well read. You read.
Joke.
Yeah, I hear you. But you read a lot of books. I take it. You're very well read, and then the sense that you're able to grab the good out of what your experience tells you, and then to apply it. I think it's great. But there are some things where, as we're talking about providing that feedback, it could go south. Meaning that if there's judgment, that would be, a bad thing. But so knowing that, you would want to dissuade people from, being judgmental or offering external rewards to continue, the success of the app and what it's providing.
Yeah, no, I'm not necessarily surprised or anything. I mean, people are coming up with have great intuition every day, right? I mean, we see what's around us. We know what works. The problem is, I think, or the benefit of the academic side of it and understanding some of the theory and the process and behaviors and what the research shows is that it, like you said, Jimmy, it makes it repeatable, right? And then you can really kind of double down on it and know so that it didn't happen by accident anymore. Even whether it did or not, it becomes sustainable and you can then continue to evolve and build it out in the way that's going to be the most impactful. But yeah, I mean, I think it's all pretty cool. Is the app like publicly available, or is it something you're doing more B2B where you run it in with an organization and you build it out that way through that process?
So far, in this version that is live, so this version lives on App Store, but I put a really high price because I didn't want the public to access it.
Got it.
So mostly I run it in closed groups, which could also answer why the chat is usually very supportive. that it's people that they have a connection already, even if they don't know each other. They have they're part of the same community or something like that.
Got it. So mostly you're connecting people that know each other, but then there's also an aspect of even if they don't, they're within the same organization or they have a very high commonality. And
they have their face, they have their name there, so they cannot really,
Have you had anyone from the public buy it, even though it was really expensive? And then you're like, all right, well, I guess we'll take it.
No, not yet. No. It's very expensive.
Yeah. $100,000 for an app. What the?
Yeah, no, I haven't done any marketing for the public, so I don't think it's easy to find. So it's just there because it's easier for people to download once you do it in an organization.
Right. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And this is a tough question. Maybe you might smile at it, but can it be misused?
Can it be misused? Can it be misused? It's such a broad question.
I'm doing the best I can to get at it.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, you've been using it for a while. Have you had any negative outcomes of it, or any?
No, it's because the more people invest into it, it better it becomes. So I think the worst outcome is the people that they set a goal and they don't open the app again for whatever reason. So it's just the not using that has no outcome, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't had any misuse. Can it be misused? Because I ran this system with pen and paper, then with Google Sheet and WhatsApp. I've been running it with such a simple measures because I do believe that great product has to be simple. To be the more complexity we add, to be just we're losing scalability and fun most of the times.
Mm-hmm.
So the practice has been to do it very, very simple and have the minimum amount of features.
Did you have something? Did you have something in mind, Trey?
No, I have none. So I'm simply trying to get my arms around it without pushing to find out what it without buying the app.
Yeah, I would be interested in the chat feature of the app. Like, what type of support are people giving one another? That's where I would think it would be. I mean, if you get if I were to take an academic approach, I would take the analysis of the chat and what type of feedback are they giving one another? What type of support are they being, are they, is it external? Is it, is there imposition there? Or is it all supportive? And, I would, that's the only thing I would be interested in to see if that's how I could see it.
It's a good point. It's a very good point, because now we're building a public version of the app, and this app will not have as much. Like, for example, the chat will only come when people have gone through a course, like like they need to first have proven that they have worked through a task numerous of time, and then they're being allowed to go through a course, a culture course, and then they open up the possibility of writing freely to each other.
Exactly.
So it will be like a membrane.
Because I think you would want to make sure that the feedback or the chat, they're not being, they're not being mean. They're not telling them that they suck. Why don't you do your job or do it? But it's being support. And I think just providing guidelines as opposed to saying what you should and shouldn't do, but providing guidelines would be helpful.
Yeah, it's a beautiful practice, and I think from a more, what can you say, virtues point of view, it kind of comes down to self-inquiry and kind of demonstrating for people that I'm setting an intention, I'm the person doing the job, and eventually I'm the one getting the result. So you're giving the power, you're giving the people their power back of, I am in charge of whatever this is, this physical body, this abstract mind, these emotions. I have if I want, I can choose, I can choose the outcome of my own life somehow.
Yeah. Just giving them agency, right?
Yeah.
I think the agency I love that.
So how does this roll into your leadership experience running the other company for, multiple years? And as the growth, it sounded like you guys grew pretty fast, and I imagine you hired new people, and I don't know if they were all remote or if they were all in Asia where you moved. You said you were in Thailand.
Yeah. No, we were operating in South America, in India, in Philippines, in Thailand, in UK. Yeah, we were spread out. I think we had like 12 different time zones.
Wow.
How many is we?
We were 3 owners.
3 owners.
Yeah.
How did you get to know them?
One of them was a client of mine in my most previous employment. So they were a big client, and we became good friends. And the third guy I got to know through him.
Got it.
So it was actually now this summer, 6 or 7 years later, when we started, that we all gathered, all the founders. We'd never met in person before that.
Gosh.
So
that's crazy.
Yeah, so we ran this for many years. We'd never seen it together, though. I met them all separately, but not everyone gathered in the same room.
Got it.
So that was an interesting experience. And just to also just follow up on the entire story. So what happened was that in the end, our employees or our consultants, they ran the show for us. So they had that, the level of agency and also willingness to run the show. So we were there to kind of allocate resources and be, to mentor it rather than steering it operationally, which was really cool to see. And yeah, I would say that it was thanks to this simulation, this game that took us there.
Yeah, no, I think that's key is, running a company is not, despite what many people might think, it's not about trying to control it. It's about trying to guide it, right? I like my favorite analogy for leadership is the gardener, right? It's like growing plants. You can't yell at a plant and have it grow faster. You can't force the plants a certain way. You have to create the environment. You have to make sure that there's the right amount of light, that the right temperature, the right amount of water, all that. So you attend to it. You don't control it. But I think that's
it's easy to say in theory, but the moment like you have when you have a lot of money at stake, and you just have to release that control and trust, like that's a character test.
It's a skill, yeah.
But I guess you're all parents, I would assume, and it's a great parenting,
Sure. You learn a lot being a parent. I mean, some people learn different things than others, I think. But man, patience is definitely one of them. tolerance even a little bit.
Well, even when they get older and they start leaving the house, you just got to trust they're going to make the right decisions because you're no longer present because they're in college or whatever. That's for us. It's
If they leave the house.
If they leave, that's right.
My 14-year-old's still here. It's ridiculous.
Oh, Coop. Coop.
Yeah, right.
Coop gonna leave?
No, he's got 6 more years, but
he's
the
got
other
6
ones are not.
Sure. That is leadership. Parenting is leadership. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of people that actually learn it beforehand. So you got to learn by doing.
I always say, is this your first child? What's first child for? But experimentation. No, it's tough.
It is,
especially if you're a lousy parent or you've been parented by a really
a bad role model.
Yeah.
So what do you think was like maybe your biggest leadership challenge with that company? You had 2 other owners. You had hardly ever saw each other in person. You had multiple people across various locations, and I'm sure growth and financials, and there's all kinds of things in play. Do you have any big challenges as a leader?
I answer it very personally. So my personal biggest challenge was narrowing the focus somehow. I do love the radiant growth when things can just grow and explore, almost letting the growth show where it's want to go itself. And you're just there to kind of facilitate it with best manner. And what I realized with that business in that context, I wasn't where my heart was in terms of what we were doing. Like that search engine optimization, that's not where my heart was. So when I realized that's where we're going to continue being, this is what we do. This is our company. This is the purpose of our company. I was like, but when are we going to do the fun stuff? So that was also, so in the end, I sold my stocks and I quit to pursue this initiative, this Finally Together, because I didn't want to do the digital marketing things anymore. So that was my biggest lesson, was to make sure to put myself in a context where I enjoy talking about what the company is doing. Because if you do it successfully, people will chase you to learn from you. So you better do something where you want to continue that conversation with joy.
Did you ever find yourself wanting to, or finding it hard to move on to that, even though you knew you would love this other thing more? The money was coming in, it was stable, it's what you knew. You became, I'm sure, an expert in that area. Was there that challenge of kind of letting go?
No, I think it came afterwards. The transition was easy. It felt very natural. I knew it was coming, but I didn't plan for the separation. It kind of came up in a meeting with the other founders. But then, years after, I realized when you're looking at, the price tag of what we were doing, because when you're there, it's just everyday life. And then you start comparing it to how other people are dealing with, their stocks, and like they're very serious about these things. I took it lightly, but in hindsight, I did all the right things and everything went well. But I'm a very romantic guy and I believe in following your heart. And I've always had parents supporting that somehow. So it's always been easy, when you know, and then there's no looking back almost.
Right.
So it's only when I hear other people's worry about my story that I worry. If it's just me, it feels okay.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, oh God, I didn't even think of that. Shoot, should I be worried?
Exactly.
Well, just let that thing about misused let go.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad question though, because especially from a business perspective going in, you got to understand what are the pros and cons and what can happen and what can't. And maybe the answer is, I don't know. The way we're doing it, there's, we've mitigated those risks. But
but that's the daily practice of being an entrepreneur, that you're breaking your own stuff. Like
right.
When I'm standing in the shower, all I do is trying to break my own ideas and see if they can stand.
Yeah.
That's the place to do it. Just kidding. That one got away.
As long as you don't slip and fall.
Yeah. I've often thought that if we were skillful.
What do you mean if?
Enough. If we were skillful enough.
Right.
You over there, you don't judge
You're
it.
skillful?
No. Okay.
All right. Humble guy.
I'm just going to let this one go.
Go ahead. No.
No, I was just saying, I've often thought about the idea, supposing that we did a really good job and created a bank of knowledge and capacities to understand to the point where it was fairly complex. Because personality is a very difficult, complex concept, and if supposing we got this position clearly spelled out, and we got values really clearly spelled out, and then we got persona. We're talking about different concepts within the understanding of personality. That there would be it could be misused. That's that's one of my fears. That if we did a really good job of that it could be misused. There's so much to think about.
You're being a pessimist today.
How about a fearful person? How about
Are you falling more on the pessimist side of that?
No,
We need to pull you over to the
optimism.
We need some learned optimism.
I think it's just looking at he's looking at it and said he's trying to pull himself out of it and see if it'll stand.
Yeah,
I think that's what I heard him say. Did I use it right, and did I say it right? You found yourself in the shower, pulling yourself away or looking at what you're doing and wondering if it would stand. That's what.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm attacking my own ideas to see if they're solid.
Yes, and that's what I was really doing by doing that.
Challenging ourselves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's how you develop values.
Well, Jimmy and I were talking when we were driving, and we get into some of the weirdest conversations. And I asked him, I said, I was reading and writing about am I a fair person? How do I know if I'm a fair person? And how do I continue to be a fair person? And we got into justice. What are the characteristics of justice? And we were saying that it has to be somehow it really has to be balanced, and it has to be harmonious, and it has to be meaningful, and that's what justice is. The characteristic of it. So it was just a question about so I'm not my pessimism today. It's just my question that I was grooving off his comment, and he was doing what I would do, which is to check and say, well, where's this going, and how does this stand, and is it healthy, and is it? And I don't want to manage it just to the point where it is I control it, which is what I heard you say. Did I say it right? Or did I paraphrase you right?
And what I said, to attack my own ideas to see if they could stand. Yeah, it's the same thing. It's the self-inquiry, right? Inquiry.
Yeah.
Am I doing the right thing here? Is it harmonious? Is it in balance? Yeah.
It's such a wonderful.
So what else? Do you have any other topics you want to make sure we cover, or any questions you wish I'd asked you?
I mean, not really. We can talk more times, but I also believe in, you always stop at the peak.
Yeah. So the peak in our show is typically a joke.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't mention that too.
Oh, you didn't bring it up? Do you have any cool jokes that you like to tell?
Do you have a go-to joke?
Not on the spot.
No.
Do not have a joke on the spot, no.
I have one that I keep repeating about, I keep telling my wife, I'm asking my wife to embrace her mistakes. And so she came over and gave me a hug.
That's cute almost.
Isn't that lovely?
But it's also super mean.
This is so beautiful. It's so...
We do have a button.
That's a good
here.
one.
It's
So
called the Dad Joke 3000.
Yeah, it kind of prevents a joke, so we don't know if they're good or bad, but we just give it a go.
What kind of tree fits in your hand? A palm tree.
What kind of tree fits in your hand?
A palm tree.
Yes.
Hey.
Ba-dum-bum.
Ba-dum-bum.
All right.
Goodness gracious. That's not bad. We got a couple bad dad jokes.
Yeah,
They're good.
You got
though.
it. We got a few.
They're so bad, they're good. right?
Oh, don't dad joke, not bad jokes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, did you put that in there? Did you slip that in there on purpose?
no, I don't. You
Go
know,
here.
you know how to tell
Go-
a dad
go-
joke,
go.
right?
No, how do I tell?
Because it's a parent.
How to tell if it's a
Would you tell him to go to
his
your room? Go to your room.
Yeah.
How can people contact you, Fredrik, or get access if they want to, use your app in their organization? How can they reach out to you?
We can put my email in your description, huh?
Sure. Do you want to just throw it out there verbally too? So maybe if people are listening, they can memorize it. And
It's Fred or Fredrik, fred@finallytogether.org.
Oh, there you go.
finallytogether.org. Cool. And that's the website, I assume. It's got some other information they can find.
That's correct, yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Any last thoughts for the audience?
Drop some wisdom.
Yeah, drop some wisdom. Better to drop wisdom than a mic. Get more out of it.
Last time I dropped Mike,
I'll go
I
on
really
there.
heard him.
I feel complete. So nothing is coming.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, I was charged up prior to this meeting. I was charged up, and I felt both hearing your reflection, hearing how it was received,
Mhm.
also feeling the vibe a little bit. Like it feels like you are observing these things from a more holistic and wholesome approach. And it stimulates me. So I feel
Good.
very harmonious right now.
Good.
And that's why my wittiness disappears, because my Zen mode kicks in, and then, the mind kind of quiets down. So I'm happy.
Mhm.
Thank you guys for
Very cool.
for this.
For sure.
Yeah.
You too. No, this was great.
That was a bit- that was
Have
a-
you written anything, a book of any kind?
I wrote a book, and then I looked at it and I thought, if I truly want to make an impact, I need to make this interactive. So then I made an app, and that's a true story. So there is a book which the app methodology is based upon, but
I
it was
see.
never released because I
see.
made the app instead. It felt like a more bang for the buck
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in terms of the value that the user can get.
Mm-hmm.
If they can play with it, they will learn better than if they read it.
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah. Wise.
Congrats! You made it to the end of the episode. Thanks for tuning in. We genuinely hope that you found value in our conversation. If you liked it, please click that like button below and subscribe so that you can stay up to date on our current episodes. And if you didn't like it, you can click the dislike button, but make sure you click it twice. We're eager to hear from you, whether it's your thoughts, questions, topic ideas, or if you're interested in our leadership training and consulting support. Leave us a comment below or reach out to us directly at info@intrinsicfirst.com. We're open to any and all feedback. Thanks again for joining us. We look forward to having you back for more insightful leadership discussion. Until next time,